Some of you might already know and aware of the little adventure that we took last month and the subsequent fallout. That's my illness during that particular adventure. I try to explain the series of events and the particular situation, the events that led to my evacuation from Loboche, which is just 8 kilometers away from the Everest base camp. Hey, I am Fani Maradani. Welcome to my channel. If I look back and reflect on the whole episode, so I can attribute the whole thing to three important events or three important causes for me to get exposed to HAPE, which is high altitude pulmonary edema. Before going to the details, there are three kinds of sickness that one can experience when you hike or trek on high mountains, which is the mountains which are altitude of more than 2,800 meters. So you are you are exposed to such high altitudes, and there are three different kinds of sickness. One is AMS, which is acute mountain sickness, and then which is kind of a pulmonary sickness, which you get nausea, headache, and things like that. Not that serious, but of course you have to watch out for the symptoms. It will give you some uncomfortable situations on the mountains. But the two other are really fatal, like HAPE and HAZE, which is high altitude pulmonary edema and high altitude cerebral edema. So these two are serious forms of AMS, and these can be fatal if it's not treated, which means like if you are not descending down so quickly. Our EBC trek was uneventful and till we reach a place called Doboche. So it's actually we are going good. The whole EBC trek starting from Lukla, which is at 2,800 meters of altitude. So the trek starts from Lukla. So you fly from Kathmandu to Lukla and then you start embarking on this trek. So from Lukla to Everest base camp, roughly around 65 kilometers, and then you really gain an elevation from 2,800 meters to 5,400 meters, which is the elevation of Everest base camp. So, and the whole trek supposed to happen in 8 to 9 days, and the trek is designed in such a way that you don't gain more altitude in a single day. So there are 2 acclimatization days carefully planned by the trek operator. So all that is good, and the trek was uneventful till Doboche, and which is already at 4,400 meters of altitude, which means that you are really close to Everest base camp. So we are doing fine, and we reached Doboche, and then Doboche is a place where one of our acclimatization days planned. So an acclimatization day means that it's a rest day, because not literally rest, but you still go on the rest day, on the acclimatization day, to the nearest peak. You climb to your nearest peak, gain some elevation, and you come back. And you come back basically to stay in the same tea house as you were staying the previous day. So the Doboche. So we reached Doboche. As I said, it's uneventful, it's full of joy, a lot of energy, and it's too much fun. So all is good till Doboche, and then the next day is our acclimatization hike to a nearby hill. So on this acclimatization hike, the day started as usual early in the morning after breakfast at 6:30 a.m. So that's our usual time of the trek every day. So it's the same on the same day, on the acclimatization day as well. And then we started climbing to the nearest peak, as I said. And the plan is actually to gain around 400 meters, which means that we're already at 4,400 and we want to go till 4,900 meters and then come back, to really acclimatize your body. So that's the plan for the day. And then the idea is to go start at 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. and then come back by lunchtime. So that's a hill besides the tea house. And so there are certain milestones on this hike. So they have marked flag 1 and flag 2 and flag 3. The flag 3 is the final peak of the hill. So the idea is to go to flag 3 and then come back. So if you reach flag 3, which means that you reach 4,900 meters. So anyway, we all started, and then at least flag 1 and flag 2 are the mandatory milestones one has to reach if you want to acclimatize properly. Then we started, but I mean, flag 3 is anyway optional because it all depends on the weather. Usually, Dobeche is at high altitude and then very closer to that Himalayan, those 8,000 peaks. So it's always there is a lot of wind, and then you never know when it snows, right? So it's flag 2 is a kind of a mandatory milestone one has to achieve, and flag 3 may be an optional, depends on the weather. So the idea. And then we all started walking, and then we reached flag 1, and you might already know. That me and my wife went to this trek, so we are together as a pair. We're already doing as a pair from day 1, from Lukla to Deboche, and all 5-6 days we are really trekking or hiking, walking together with certain cadence, because the first rule of this high mountain trekking is walk slow, because our body is not used to that such high altitudes. We are all our whole life we are at the sea level, so that's the prerequisite anyway. So we want to walk slow, so we build a cadence. We are walking slow together, me walking on front, and then my wife is following, Chaitanya is following me. So that's the cadence is set, and then till we reach the Boche, and then we are also doing the same during this acclimatization hike day. We reached flag 1, and then where my wife Chaitanya said she wants to go back, just because it's kind of an optional. I already did till flag 1, which means already around 200 meters I gained, so that's okay for me, and then I'll go back and take rest. So that's what she wants to do. Then for me, I think I thought, I told her that it's at least I tried to push her to go to flag 2, but I think she made her mind even before the trek, even before the hike that day, that she just go to flag 1 and come back and then takes the rest and take that day slowly. What happened is, then I said okay, but I decided to go to flag 2, and this is the first time we've really been separated. So which means that my wife Chaitanya is coming down, I'm going up to go to flag 2 of that hike. So then this is the really first time we are not in a pair, and then I lost my cadence, I lost my the pacing of the hike. So I was kind of literally felt free. It's a lot of kind of a freedom. I just want to really do it fast. So this is the first time I broke the rule of hiking slow, right? I really gained a lot of elevation, went to flag 2 and came down to the tea house, ascending and descending in very quick time, which means that I was really rushing to hike the mountain, touch the flag 2. I took some photos, nice view you get from flag 2, very kind of eye to eye, the parallel view of Amdablam. So this is a very good 8,000 beautiful peak, 6,000 meters peak. So I took some shots and came down to tea house very fast. So the reason number 1, or the event number 1 which went wrong to me, is this kind of hiking very fast. I came down to the tea house by noon. It was hot and it was sunny, and then I just slept for an hour or so. So, and I realized later, I think sleeping during daytime at that high altitude after a fast ascent or descent is fatal. So I should not lay down, but I did. So that could be the reason number 2. Even before, after reaching the tea house, and then I want to change, I already changed to my casuals. I want to take rest, I want to sleep. What I did is, it was bright and sunny afternoon, so we took a solar charger, power charger. So it's a power bank, but charged with solar basically. So you need that in EBC, because the plug charging, socket charging in tea houses gets pretty expensive. That's not free. So this solar charger will help you as long as you're hiking and there's enough sun. So just before sleeping that day, there was bright and sunny that day. I thought, okay, I can put the charger outside of the tea house, which is outside of my room, and then so that while I'm sleeping it gets charged. So that was the plan. So I did that, and then I slept. and somehow I got up suddenly for some reason, after an hour or so. I don't know, I don't remember, maybe 45 minutes of the sleep, and I just saw overlooking the window and it was snowing. So I was kind of really rushed towards my power bank, which I kept for charging outside. So I just woke up from the bed and rushed and ran towards the power bank, which is outside the tea house, which is maybe around 100 meters or so, without any gear. It was already snowing, it was already cold. I didn't have my jacket on, I didn't have my headgear on, nothing, no gloves and things like that, maybe no shoes, it's just with sandals. I ran fast and took the power bank and came back to the tea house. Now the moment I entered the tea house, now all the drama started. All of a sudden I got kind of felt very heavy on my lungs. I felt very kind of I got a feeling that I drowned in water, right? A lot of water went into the lungs, kind of a feeling. So my lungs are actually really gasping for air. I'm gasping for air. I came down and sat on the bed. I thought maybe I just ran, and then came back. So maybe because of that, so this gasping is happening. And then that is the kind of, I think that is the point where I stuck and got with HAPE, which is high altitude pulmonary edema, which means that because of the equilibrium, because of the difference in air pressure from the outside atmosphere to inside our body, and of course there's a lot of science behind, but this HAPE happens where the fluids inside the body flows inside lungs, or lungs filled with fluids basically, and there isn't enough space for the lungs to carry the oxygen. All right, so which means that you are suffering from lack of oxygen. You're basically deprived of oxygen, so you're trying to gasp air as the oxygen levels are coming down because not enough oxygen in the lungs. So I got tired, exhaustion, like now I can't able to take a step here and there, so weak, can't do anything, kind of things. It's all happened within an hour or so. So by that evening I already started feeling cold and a lot of shivering, kind of a feverish stuff, things like that. But I was hoping that things get better, and my brain is not accepting that I got HAPE. I thought maybe just kind of general illness. This happens as I said, it could be AMS, so maybe headache and maybe little uneasiness because of lack of oxygen, things like that. So I was hoping the day, night, and by the tomorrow, next day we are going to start our trek again, which is we are supposed to go to Loboche, which is very close to Everest base camp, which is the one stop away from the EBC basically. So that's the plan. And then I thought, okay, let that night pass, and then I'll be all right, and then we can do the trek normally. But it wasn't the case. The night was really hell. I was struggling for oxygen. I was struggling for gasping. I'm gasping all night and there's a lot of cough and then mild fever. I didn't eat anything and things like that. So, and the situation was when you lie down flat on bed, so you have to really maybe sit upright. It's better so that some oxygen goes in, things like that. Anyway, the next day, where everybody was there, and then I think this is the critical point, right? I had to take a call. We have to take a call whether I can proceed further or not. And we took a wrong call. So we measured our SpO2, which is with oximeter. It was around 57 that day in Dingboche, where we supposed to go on an again 8-hour trek to Loboche, right? So, but 57, but when I gasped, like kind of longer, I breathe longer, maybe at the time the meter reading could improve to 10 more points, around 65, but it's certainly less than 70. But we convinced ourselves that anyway it's 60, 65, fine, and they're all asking me. At these kind of situations, it is you that you have to make a call, right? And nobody can tell how you feel, what you should do. So I think I did a wrong step. I said, okay, anyway, I came all along. It's already 5 days past. 5 days of trek is done, which is 85% of the effort has already put in. I thought maybe one more night and Laboche, and then next day we reach EBC. So that was that this decision could have been fatal. Unfortunately, it didn't. But yeah, so this is a lessons learned. So we started trekking because all the guys, our group, so what a wonderful group that we had. So everybody is very supportive. It was like a family. So they took even my backpack, they carried themselves, and they said, okay, come slowly, because I can barely put 2 steps and then stop and breathe for air, and again 2 steps, this is how we are doing it. And after an hour or two, I was so exhausted, and my trek guide said that it's not possible for me to reach the destination that day with that pace, and I was struggling literally. So it's between Dobuche and Lobuche. It's called all deserted. It's a desert. Nobody is there, not a single soul. Me and my wife, and then of course our trek guide. So the whole group has already marched towards the next stop. So we were 3, and then trek guide then said, okay, then there's the only way that I can reach the next stop or the next tea house is by horses or ponies. So he went ahead to get those ponies, but it's not easy. He has to really hike and trek long distance till you reach a place where he gets ponies and things like that. It was all drama, and me and my wife were together walking and waiting for the ponies and walking slowly. Another 2 hours passed, altogether 4 hours from start of the trek. Eventually and fortunately, so those ponies and the horses arrived. So we took horses to reach to Loboche that day, and we reached Loboche at 4:30 p.m. in the evening on horses. I completely exhausted, extortion, and then body weakness, and I can barely speak to people. I cannot comprehend what is happening, which because the oxygen is not there in the body. So I reached the tea house, got down, and with some help from those guys, got on the horse and went to the tea house. Dining room, sat there, and of course went to the room, barely walking, barely talking, as nothing is happening. Then that's the realization I had. Then I said myself, it's not happening. I can't stay that night in Loboche, which is around 8 kilometers away from EBC, but I cannot spend that night in Loboche in that condition because it was cold. I got sick. These lungs are literally kind of filled. You can feel that gargling sound, kind of sound coming from the lungs when you breathe in, breathe out. So this is ridiculous, and I can't barely put a step here and there. So I barely walk, barely stand, things like that. So I told my wife that let's go back. I think this is the time that I had to go back. And you know what? That a decision we took it at 5 p.m. in the night. It was dark. It's snowing already. Even if you want to go, so we are nowhere. We're already at 5,000, around 4,900 meters of altitude, very close to Mount Everest. And so all the peaks surrounded by you. It's kind of middle of nowhere. And fortunately, there's enough light that we could get a helicopter to evacuate me at that time. It's a really fortunate situation. So yeah, we called a chopper, and then plan is to take me from there to Kathmandu, not to Lukla. The chopper arrived within 10-15 minutes. Everything is packed. It's very dramatic, right? People just carried me on their shoulders to the chopper, because I can't walk to the chopper. It takes another hour, even if I can see the chopper near the tea house. So that was the situation. So they carried, and the chopper can't wait more time because it was snowing, and he has to leave. If he waits anymore, even the chopper gets stuck, and then we cannot get out of that Loboche. So finally everything went good, and then we reached Lukla, and then weather got worse, and then of course we couldn't fly to Kathmandu as planned initially. So they dropped me at Lukla, and by the time we reached Lukla, which is from 5,000 meters of altitude, which is Loboche, to 2,800 meters of altitude, which is Lukla, my situation already got better. So the only credible treatment for HAPE, high altitude pulmonary edema, is descending down at least 1,000 meters. That's what the doctor says. So anyway, I have descended enough, which is around 2,500 meters. The moment I got down to Lukla, everything is absolutely fine. fine in the sense I could able to breathe. I know that I'm not dying anymore, and of course I can get help there if needed. There is a small clinic in Lukla, and anyway, plan is to go next day to Kathmandu and join in a hospital, but nothing to worry because it's all the danger is gone. So that's the whole episode of uh, this HAPE. I got stuck with HAPE in Loboche and Dingboche basically, but carried forward to Loboche with my stupidity and then came back to Lukla. So the video that you have shown, we have seen that video that I took. You have seen the starting of this video, the video I took in Lukla after I got down to Lukla, went to a hotel and then kind of relaxed a bit, and then I want to communicate that message to everybody. So that's the video that I got played. Okay, now, so this is the story, guys. Finally, what are our learnings, right? And what okay, the questions like, is it safe to go to these high mountain peaks, or at least to the base camps, of course, to the base camps. So is it safe and is it fatal? What is this experience? What we can learn from this experience, my experience. It is absolutely safe. It's absolutely safe. AMS, HAPE, and HAZE are very common. It can hit anybody. It really doesn't matter whether you're fit or not fit and things like that, right? So the reason why one is exposed to these things, we never know. But what we certainly know is how to avoid these. Yeah, how to avoid this. So one and four. I mean, so then I have listed down a couple of points and like what I should do when I go next time, and then what I should do not to repeat the same, no, not to get into the same situation again. So first and foremost, take it slow as we were doing till Toboche, and then take it slow, walk very slowly, and acclimatize yourself properly. So take enough days. So plan your itinerary in the way that you take a day off, 2 days off, acclimatize yourself, and that's acclimatization is the key, so that body get acclimatized and it won't react the way it is reacted in my case. And drink plenty of water, minimum 3 to 4 liters of water. Don't really, there's no shortcut for that. So you have to drink a lot of water. You have to eat food, because at that altitude, at least we felt we were not, our appetite has gone down and then things like that. But you have to eat. It's no matter what, you have to eat. So eat properly, walk slowly, acclimatize yourself, drink plenty of water, and of course, and then the last one is take the preventive medicines. We were on Diamox. So Diamox is a tablet that you take every day, so that it's kind of a preventive medicine, no side effects, and it's good to take. So we were on Diamox, but still I got it, but that's fine. So these are certain steps, and very important. Check your SpO2 or oximeter reading every day, twice a day basically, once in the morning, once in the evening. And make a rule. It's a golden rule. If it is below 75, the reading is below 75 or between 75 and 70, no questions asked, you have to descend down irrespective of your symptoms, which means that it's a really low oxygen saturation in your body. So there is no kind of no thinking. Yeah, so make that as a rule. In whichever group you are going, make sure that everybody gets measured with a reliable device. Measure it twice or thrice, make it stable, get a stable reading, and if it is low beyond this threshold, come down. Yeah, basically. So these are all the practices that one should practice, and it's very safe. And guys, it's really beautiful. These treks is the 2 weeks or 3 weeks that you invest, maybe once in a while, really you will cherish those memories. So it's a spectacular mountain. There are spectacular mountains untouched. Of course, there are a lot of tourists nowadays, but still, it's very beautiful. And that experience of putting ourselves to this extreme conditions, those memories last forever. Okay, folks. So that's what has happened, and then this is what my learnings from that last episode. I certainly will do. I really now all the more excited to do another base camp trek, maybe in sometime soon. So guys, there are 14 8,000 altitude peaks, and most of them are in Nepal. And then so we can do a lot there, but with very cautiously, with those precautions. And Yeah, without any deviation at all. Yeah, guys, it is not fatal and it's not life threatening. So yeah, it's completely safe with due precautions. Okay, then thanks for watching. Do connect me in Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, you can hit me. My profile name is Funny Mardani. Thanks for watching. If you like it, gives me a thumbs up, and please do share and subscribe. For now, bye.